Your cat isn't just sitting at the door waiting for you. They've been watching for you, listening for you, and preparing for this exact moment all day long. Most people assume it's habit, maybe hunger. But what unfolds in those few seconds when you cross that threshold is one of the most emotionally loaded exchanges in the entire animal world. And if you're walking past it without noticing, which most owners do every single day, you're missing a conversation your cat reserves only for you. Let's break it all down. 1. Your cat is reading your emotional state before you say a word. The moment you step through that threshold, your cat's full assessment of you has already begun. Not once you sit down, not after you speak, the very instant you walk in. Research from the journal Animal Cognition confirmed that cats can differentiate between human emotional expressions and actively adjust their behavior in response. So whether you've had the best day of your life, or the kind that makes you want to disappear under a blanket and never come out, your cat already knows, before your coat hits the hook, before you've said anything. What happens next depends entirely on the bond you've built. Some cats give you space when you walk in tense or overwhelmed. They're not being distant, they're reading the situation with care. Others move toward you with deliberate calm, like it's their personal job to check in on you. And that level of attentiveness is rarer than you think. The response varies, the awareness never does. Think about what that actually means. Most of the people in your life react to what you tell them you're feeling. Your cat responds to what you're actually feeling before you've said a single word. Your cat doesn't wait for you to speak. They're already listening before you find the words. And there's a deeper reason why the door, specifically, is where all of this happens. I'll come back to it before this video ends. When you hear it, everything about this moment will look completely different. 2. Every rub against your legs is a deliberate rewrite of your scent. You know the move. The second you step inside, your cat presses their forehead or cheek firmly against your legs. It reads as warmth, and it is, but it's also something far more deliberate than a simple greeting gesture. Cats carry scent glands along their cheeks, forehead, chin, and the base of their tail. When they press those glands against you at the door, they're transferring their own pheromones directly onto your body. You've been out in the world all day accumulating unfamiliar smells, from places, people, and possibly other animals. To your cat, you've returned home smelling like a stranger. That requires immediate correction. Scientists refer to this behavior as bunting. It's one of the most deliberate and purposeful scent behaviors cats perform. The goal is specific: to restore your scent to something familiar, something that signals you belong to their world, that you're safe, that you're theirs. Here's the part most people miss. If you've been near another animal that day, a friend's dog, a neighbour's cat, your cat's greeting will run noticeably longer and more thorough. They're not being dramatic. They're simply working harder to reclaim their hold on you, to layer their signature back over yours before anything else takes root. If your cat greets you this way every single day, that's not just warmth, that's a claim, a gentle one, but a claim all the same. 3. Not every greeting at the door is actually a welcome. Some are complaints. What if the greeting you've been receiving every evening isn't actually a greeting at all? What if it's closer to a performance review? Here's how you tell the difference. Pay attention to what your cat does in the 30 seconds immediately after greeting you. If they welcome you, and then walk deliberately toward the kitchen, pause and glance back, that's not affection. That's an escort. In your cat's mind, your return means exactly one thing. The service provider has clocked back in. And it isn't always about food. Some cats will lead you calmly to the litter tray with the quiet authority of someone who has been patiently waiting for a professional to handle the situation for several hours. Others will launch into a sustained vocal performance the moment you walk in, not because they missed your voice, but because their afternoon was uneventful and you are the most stimulating arrival of the day. Researchers at the University of Sussex identified a specific vocalization cats have developed, a blend of purr and high-frequency cry that mimics the acoustic urgency of an infant's call, because it triggers faster responses in humans. Your cat has essentially engineered a notification system calibrated precisely to your nervous system, and they deploy it the moment the door swings open. A cat that greets you and stays close is offering connection. A cat that greets you and then leads you somewhere is submitting a request. Both are genuine communication, but only one of them is what you always thought it was, and once you know which one you're getting, you'll never mistake them again. 4. Your cat has memorized your entire schedule. Your cat isn't standing at the door by coincidence. They're not psychic. They've simply been paying closer attention to your patterns than you ever thought to notice. Cats can detect sounds at frequencies up to 64,000 Hz, nearly double the upper range of dogs. That means they can recognize your specific car engine, your footstep rhythm on the path outside, even the way your keys sound in your pocket. They haven't just noticed that you've arrived. They identified you before you ever reached the handle, but it goes further than hearing. Cats have a remarkably accurate internal clock and use it to track your daily routine. Research from the University of Liverpool documented that cats display measurably increased movement and alertness in the window just before their owner's regular arrival time. They're not reacting to your return. They've been building toward it. That's not coincidence. That's devotion measured in minutes. Your cat hasn't just been sleeping all day, or they've been running a quiet countdown to the exact moment you came back through that door. And when you're late, the greeting makes it clear. It's louder, more urgent, sometimes frantic in a way that feels different from any other welcome. Because for the last 20 or 30 minutes, your cat has been sitting with a growing quiet anxiety, watching the familiar pattern fail to repeat, wondering whether something went wrong. That unease is real, and the relief that moves through them when you finally walk in is just as real. 5. What you do in the first 10 seconds shapes more than you realize. Be honest. What do you actually do the instant you walk through that door? Most people follow the same sequence. Drop the bag, check the phone, kick off the shoes, call out to someone in another room, while walking directly past the one creature in the house who has been specifically waiting for them to come home. Here's why that matters. Cats don't repeat an offer for your attention. When your cat positions themselves at that door, they're extending a moment of connection strictly on their own terms. If you walk past without acknowledging it, they register that. Not with visible hurt, not with drama. They quietly revise what they expect from that moment. Over time, some cats stop greeting at the door altogether, not because something changed in how they feel, but because they learned, through repetition, that this moment leads nowhere. They stopped reaching for something they'd quietly stopped expecting to find. Turning that around costs almost nothing. 10 seconds. Slow down as you walk in. Get low. Let your cat approach, investigate, and run their assessment at their own pace. You don't need a ceremony. One genuine moment of presence. That's what your cat has been asking for all along. And that's what shifts the dynamic between you, not just today, but every time after. 6. Your cat waits at the door because you are their safety. Earlier, I promised you a reason. Here it is. The door is not simply an entry point to your cat. It is the most exposed and unpredictable location in their entire known territory. Every unfamiliar scent, every sudden sound, every potential intrusion from the outside world passes through that single point. Your cat has been watching it, monitoring it, and remaining alert to it the entire time you were away. And yet, that is exactly where they choose to wait for you. Not the sofa, not the warmest corner of the house, not the room where they feel most sheltered. The threshold itself, the most vulnerable point in their world. Ethologists, scientists who specialize in animal behavior, have documented that many cats relate to their primary owner the same way a young child relates to a trusted caregiver. The owner functions as what researchers call a secure base. When that person enters the space, the animal's stress response quiets, cortisol drops, the nervous system finally settles. Your cat isn't waiting at the door out of routine. They're choosing to position themselves at the most exposed point in their environment because you are what makes that exposure feel safe. The moment you walk through that door, something shifts inside them, chemically, emotionally, completely, because you're home. And for your cat, that is everything. If Pawsychology has ever made you see your cat a little differently, hit like and subscribe. Every week, we keep translating what your cat has been trying to tell you.